Yo, what's up guys? CLI here, Guide to the New School. This is my first episode on stage presence. So, a thing that I've seen a lot within beatboxing is people not knowing how to take control of the stage. Stage presence is one of the most important things in beatbox battling and just in performing in general. So if you just say you're not a beatboxer that likes to battle, you just like to showcase or perform, this is still an informative video for you, because stage presence works for if you're performing in a battle situation or just, as a showcase to show people your skills. So one thing I've noticed a lot within people that beatbox is sometimes people are very shy and timid, which is okay. But the thing is, you're performing, you're on stage, everyone's looking at you. And if people aren't looking at you, you're doing something wrong, okay? That's how you need to think in these situations. So first thing I'm going to say is control the space. So if you have an open area, if you just stand in one spot, you're kind of boring. No one's really going to care, because that's not right. People might care, but they're not going to be as entertained and into it as if you were, walking around the space. So first thing I would say is, if you're someone that doesn't really know what to do on stage, walk around. Make sure that you have the whole area, that you let the people that are watching, they go, oh, this guy's walking around. Because if you're walking around, you seem less nervous, you seem less shy, and it's also mental as well. If you're sort of, standing in your own little world, in your own little spot, for example, it's sort of hard to get into the rhythm, and that's why a lot of people, struggle with timing and that sort of stuff, is because they're not feeling what they're doing. They're beatboxing, but they're not feeling what they're doing. So if you're walking around, you can walk and move to the BPM and the melody and flow of your beatboxing. So just for example, if I'm, just doing some basic stuff, just to start, like, if I'm just standing here, it's cool. But if I do this, I can sort of move with it, and it's more entertaining. So first step, like in stage presence, is be entertaining, take control of the space, and move with your beatboxing. That's the most basic way to sort of understand and get into stage presence, is just move around with your beatboxing, let the rhythm flow through your body, and be entertaining for the people watching in the crowd. Because if someone's standing still, their ears will be listening and they'll be entertained via what they're hearing auditorially. But if you can move around as well, you're actually going to be more entertaining, because they're going to be both watching you and listening to you, so their attention is going to be drawn to you more. So that's just basic stage presence. Now, if we're talking about in a battling situation, if I'm facing you like this, that means I'm facing the crowd, and I'm just going to put the microphone down here, because I sort of don't really need it in this situation. I might get it back later, but I think I'm going to disconnect it because it's a bit loud. And yes, I think you sort of get the point. So yeah, if I'm facing the crowd, I'm like doing this, I'm facing the crowd. If I'm doing this, I'm going to my opponent, okay? So similar to what we spoke about before with controlling the stage and walking around, same with beatbox battling. If you're battling and you're in the corner doing your own little thing, people aren't going to be as entertained, and people aren't going to be as, into it. If you're walking around taking control of the stage, people are going to feel like, oh, he knows what he's doing, and that's half of the battle. Half of the battle is just pretending like you know what you're doing, and everyone goes, oh my god, this is cool, okay? So battling, you have two to three things you really need to focus on, okay? You have the judges, if you can see them, you have the crowd, and you have your opponent. Now, one tip I'll give, if you sort of get nervous when you're looking at a big crowd, this is what I do, because I still get nervous, is you don't look at the crowd, you look above the crowd at the back wall. Okay, so if I'm facing this way, looking at my opponent, and then I want to entertain the crowd, or I want to get the crowd involved, what you can do is, if you do get shy, look above everyone's head, look at the back wall, and just look at that. So one thing you'll find me doing a lot is I'll actually walk up to center stage, and I will like stand tall, and I'm trying not to look at anyone, because if I look at someone and they look like they're getting bored or they're not, into it, I go, oh fuck, I'm doing something wrong, I'm fucking up. We don't want that, okay? So if you get nervous, look above the crowd, above everyone's head, back wall, and focus on that, and that's a good way to seem like you're looking at the crowd, even though you're not looking at the crowd, okay? When your opponent is, for example, drinking water, or they're not really, what's the word? They're not currently involved in the battle. So a lot of times you'll see people drink water or walk around, that sort of stuff. If they're doing that, that's a perfect opportunity to take stage presence. If your opponent is sort of not doing anything on the stage currently, anytime there's an opening, use it. You'll see me do this all the time. If I notice someone's, drinking water or walking and giving stage presence, so one thing that I will say is it's like a border of a country. There's one side that's yours and one side that's theirs. And the whole big thing about stage presence is ending, you start like this, 50-50, you want to end like this. You want to have a bit more stage presence than them, okay? So one thing you'll see me do a lot is I stand in the middle and I just wait for my opponent to beatbox at me, and I don't move. I don't, act like, oh fuck, this is good and what am I gonna do? Calm yourself down, stand in the middle, stand tall, stand confident. Even if you're not confident. I'm not always 100% confident going into battle. Sometimes I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do, okay? So you wanna stand there, maintain your side of the stage, because if your opponent can push you back, stage presence wise, they're winning. They're dominating the stage, they're dominating the space, they're beating you in stage presence the moment they step a foot past your half. Okay? We'll use this line behind me. I don't know why I didn't notice this before. This is fucking awesome, okay? If you have, just say that's the center of the stage, if your opponent can come to this side, you're losing stage presence. If you can go to their side, you're winning stage presence, okay? Another thing with battling is you have to maintain your energy and your focus on your opponent and your energy and focus on the crowd. You can't be all in one way, doing your thing, because the crowd's not going to really feel involved, and you can't be doing this the whole time because you're not really battling, you're just performing. So you want to find a balance between the crowd and the opponent. How do you do this? Very simple, same as stage presence. If there's an opening, use it, okay? So if, for example, how would I word this? So if I'm like, my opponent's walking away and I've already progressed through to his side, I can't just stand here for another 58 seconds just standing here like this. It's going to be boring, it's not going to be entertaining. Remember, we are here to entertain, we are here to put on a show. That's the part of beatbox battling that I feel like has sort of been lost, in my opinion, that people, they showcase towards each other and the crowd, but they don't, clash, and there's no ebb and flow of, oh my God, to, I can't explain it, but you know what I mean. So when do I know to face the crowd? When do I know to face my opponent? If I've already taken stage presence and my opponent's backed off, now is a perfect time to switch focus, because I've already beat my opponent in stage presence for now. Now I need to get crowd interaction. So if I've already walked, done my set, my opponent's walked back or he's given me stage presence, what I can do is then turn center stage. Like I said before, if you get nervous, look at the back of the wall. Don't look at anyone in the eyes. Maintain your posture, maintain, how you were, just for example. You want to turn to the crowd, and you want to switch your beat. So if I'm going like really aggressive technique here, like I'm going to turn, do a little transition, and at that moment, I'm going to transition from a fast technical beat to a real punchy, loud sort of, if just say someone's getting bored and they just hear a boom, 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 they're going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? And they're going to pay attention to me. And that's a thing that you want as you're battling and performing, is you want attention to be on you. Okay? So, like I said, your opponent's giving you space. You do your beat or whatever you were doing. You turn to the crowd. You transition from the beat that you were doing to a new beat, usually with something punchy or something that will grab the crowd's attention. And then from that position, you want to build up again the same way you did against your opponent. So just say, whatever kind of beat you're doing against your opponent, you start and then you sort of take space, continue your beat or your set. Then once you've gathered that space, you want to turn and then do the same thing with the crowd. Now, gathering space or stage presence with the crowd isn't the same, because obviously you can't just keep walking forward and push the crowd to the back wall and then fall forward off the stage. That's not, you can't do that, okay? So the way you do it with the crowd is by engaging them, and you know you're doing this when people start screaming or people start going, ah! That's how you know you're doing something good with the crowd and they're engaged, okay? So your opponent's giving you space, you've done a beat, you turned, you're facing the crowd. The best way to get crowd interaction is with something that's punchy, something that sounds good no matter if someone's a beatboxer or not, and something that the crowd can sort of slowly feel the build up to the drop, okay? So a good example I like to use is the and then I'll slowly build up from that, or the and that will slowly build to a, and you notice it's not very technical, it's not very hard to do, but the fact that I'm engaging the crowd with like something that they can sort of move to and auditorily sounds cool, they're gonna appreciate that, and that's gonna win you stage presence with the crowd. So that's pretty much it for stage presence. If anyone has anything else they'd like to know, drop it in the comments below, and yeah, next episode will be coming out when I feel like it, to be honest. I want to keep these, I've already recorded this like 4 or 5 times. I don't have a script, I don't keep to it, I'm just going off my brain, that's how I am. Yeah, so anyone has any sort of things they'd like to know or learn, or a subject that they'd want me to do, please put it in the comment sections below. I think the next one I'm going to do is how to structure a beat, because I think it's pretty easy to do, like a routine. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, if you want private lessons, link will be down below.